Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of eCast. I'm your co-host Cobra, and I'm here together with my fellow co-hosts Loopie and Xydrra.
Yo, what's good, boys? What's good?
And this week we have a little special guest. His name is Kosmic. He's a speedrunner who has what was it? The world record on any percent on the original Mario Bros for the NES.
That is correct. I'm Cosmic. That's what I have. Also have Warpless world record.
No, he was asking what the time was.
Oh, 455.6.
Yeah,
I
watched that actually before the episode.
Yeah.
Your reaction had me priceless. But before we get into this thing, let's ask the first question. What can you say about yourself? Who are you? What describes you best?
I just started speedrunning, 9 years ago now? Just because for fun, and I still do it for fun. It's just my hobby that I do. But I slowly got better at games and eventually got kind of to the top level at some of them. So yeah, I still just have a lot of fun speedrunning. And I'm best known for Super Mario Bros., but I've done a whole bunch of games.
Like what? What games have you done other than Super Mario Bros.?
Not all of them, but the most notable in your opinion.
The most notable, yeah.
I first started with Ocarina of Time, just doing bingo races, if you know what that is. And my first world record was actually in Donkey Kong 64.
Oh.
And another game that I'm doing world record attempts in right now, in addition to Super Mario Bros., is Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg.
Oh, yes.
I've never heard of that one.
Me neither. I've never heard. Yeah.
For us too with Cobra, can you educate us what that game specifically is?
Enlighten us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a Sega game on the GameCube. It just didn't get advertised that well or something, so most people don't know it exists, but it's also really hard to describe because it's like this kid who wears a chicken suit and you push eggs around, but that does not describe the game.
That sounds like a fun
that
gameplay
sounds
experience.
like you're playing Animal Crossing and pushing eggs and turnips and whatnot.
Hey, I take great offense to that.
Nah, I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, but still.
It just has insane movement, and yeah, it's like they kind of left a lot of things open for you to just jump all over the level. So yeah, it's a good game for me.
Right.
If I remember the name, I'll go check it out here afterwards, like a video, to see what it is.
You can type it to us just to have a look what that game is. But one thing before we continue, rather, first of all, happy 1 month, although a week late. Happy 1 month of eCast, everybody. Let's celebrate to this great cause. And this 1 month journey and a week now has been amazing. Even though the views have been fluctuating, everything's been great. All the guests have been chill. Everything's been cool.
Yes.
And thank you for the support. Thank you for everything, really. And second of all, I'm glad you guys stayed. I'm glad you guys found us and something to look up to. And who knows, we'll do even more improved quality stuff in the future. But Loopie, take it away.
All right. So Cosmic, you said your first world record was Donkey Kong 64. What went through your mind? How did you feel? You finally got a world record, how did you feel?
Yeah, that one was kind of weird. I didn't feel too amazing about it because there was a lot of new time savers that had just been found, and the guy who was clearly better than me that had world record before, he was kind of he couldn't play for a few weeks at the time when all this new stuff was found. So I kind of felt like I just sort of swept it out from under him. I didn't feel as deserving of it at the time. It was still a pretty good run, but I wasn't dang, I'm the best ever at this game or something, Yeah. But that was actually only 1 week before I got my first record in Super Mario Bros. So that one was more satisfying.
What was the time for your first SMB world record?
So that was in Warpless back then, 2012. So that was 1935. Now the world record's 1859, so it's gone down a lot.
By you as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, still a massive difference from 19 to 18. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Cobra, do you have anything to,
Yeah, just to kick off, I wrote just a small amount of general questions just to,
Right,
as I
to-
just said, have it like a
to
little
help you
kickstart.
assimilate things? Yeah.
Just to kickstart the episode off with some like a little bit organized, and then we can go off and wing it a little later, like we usually do.
We always wing it, bro. So
All right.
let's go.
So if you're ready, Cosmic, I can hit you with a question.
Go for it.
All right. So one of these I wrote down is, what is your like the biggest achievement that's like, and it doesn't have to be like related to speedrunning, but just in general, what do you, in your opinion, what is your biggest achievement you've ever done that made you the most satisfied?
So I've been speedrunning kind of for like 9 years, but there was actually 2 years in there where I didn't speedrun. That was in 2014 and 2015. I actually was like away from everything for 2 years, because I actually served like a religious mission thing, and it was like pretty much all day, every day, just like helping people out and like teaching people stuff and just helping to improve their life in any way. And
That's great.
Yeah, it was a lot of work and really helped to build me into like who I am. So that's what I'm probably most proud of doing.
Good guy, Cosmic.
I was gonna ask that if
fast.
this. Yeah, I was gonna ask if that mission helped you develop yourself better. But if you're not speedrunning, what does the Cosmic that is offline, like IRL, do?
I'm pretty close to graduating with a degree in computer science.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, going to school, doing homework, and then when we get free time, we speedrun.
Yeah, and I know you went to college, but I didn't know it was for computer science. But hey, that's good for you, man.
Hope that all works out for you.
Thanks. Yeah. Luckily, this summer I'm starting a job, and it's a remote job, so everything going on in the world doesn't really affect that.
What is this remote job gonna be? If I may be curious.
It's just like a software development company.
Yeah, like. Yeah, I get it. That's cool. I'm wishing you the best of that part.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wish you the best of luck, and let's hope Corona fucks right the hell off by then.
Right. Yeah.
So you can can get on with good shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Corona has been so.
Oh, Teddy.
Did we just hear a dog?
Yeah, it's Teddy.
The dog just joined the E-cast.
All
Welcome,
right.
buddy.
Well, since the sound came from
special guest Cosmic Z.
Yeah.
Well,
Cobra, do you have more questions?
I do have more questions, but if you guys want to like drag it out a little bit with your questions, we can.
No,
if you've
go.
got okay.
Well, Loopie, you can take the lead for now.
I don't have any like productive questions right now.
Really?
No. I'll think about my question, but Hydra, maybe you have a question.
I was just thinking, like, what was it? Oh yeah. Besides those Mario games and whatnot, what other genres games do you play?
Sorry, my dog is. Someone is about to leave my house, and I think he just thinks someone's getting here.
It's okay. It's okay. Like,
Hopefully, once they leave, he'll stop paying attention to them.
Right. What other genres games do you enjoy playing? Be it in your spare time or whatever.
Yeah, I have been playing a lot of Animal Crossing that just came out.
My man.
It's been a massive hit. It's been a massive hit.
Cobra loves you already. I know that.
I pretty much play all the AAA Nintendo stuff that comes out. I pretty much play all of those. Always have growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your first ever console, Cosmic?
So we already had an NES and a Super Nintendo before I was born. So I kind of just always had them. The earliest time I can remember like not having a game for a console and then getting the game was on the N64.
Okay. I wish for a 64. Jeez, this is my dream console. The only console I've ever had myself was a Wii. Not that I'm complaining about it, but the Wii is still pretty good too. And I do play some Super Mario games there just for fun or whatever. Like, Loopie knows I play a shit ton of Mario Kart and Super Mario Galaxy 1. So
Yeah.
these are my favorite games. But is there any genre or type of game that you just can't play because you either find it too boring or too, say, dull or not fulfilling your playstyle or whatever?
I'm not super into first-person shooters.
My man.
Yeah, like I had one of my best friends growing up. Like I'd go to his house all the time after school, and he always wanted to play Borderlands. And a game like that, like I can see why people like it, but to me it was just so repetitive. Like you just do the exact same thing, but you get a gun that does more damage, and then the enemies have more health, and it's just like the whole game is exactly the same to me. So I don't know. Someone could say like, "Oh well, Mario, you just jump from platform to platform like the whole game," but I don't know. It actually feels different to me.
Yeah, everyone has a different perception of games. Some like one thing, some like others. Like us three, we have very different tastes to what
Yeah, we talked
play.
about that not last week because I wasn't there last week. That's something I forgot to mention that I will personally sincerely apologize for not participating last week. I was just not in the right mindset.
Yeah, well, your mental health was more important, and we do understand you took your break.
Yes.
But we're glad you're back, bro.
Yes.
It's not the same podcast without you, you know?
Yeah, as we clearly saw last week.
We clearly saw that. Now, but like, speaking of Borderlands, Cobra actually played, I think, a lot of Borderlands.
Every single Borderlands game that is there. And I just...
No offense. You telling Mario sucks, it's fine.
I don't...
No.
I don't
Explain
get...
yourself.
I don't... Wait, who? Cosmic or me?
No, cool.
Explain myself. But wait, with the Borderlands or Mario thing?
Mario.
I just don't get Mario. I've played it since I was little as well, and ever since then, it's the same thing. It's like with Cosmic, when he went to his friend's house. I've never been able to fucking get it. I don't get it.
That's me with FIFA, actually. Not gonna offend anyone.
It's not that I hate platform. It's not that I hate side scrollers and platformers, because one of my favorite game of all time is a platformer. So
wait, which one?
It's Hollow Knight. It's Metroidvania platformer and shit. It's an amazing game. God tier. Everybody should check it out.
And what do you think about Geometry Dash?
GD is a painful experience that I've wasted too much fucking time on and cannot stop. That is my only reasoning for that. And I will let it be at that. Now, Borderlands, I can get what you mean, Cosmic. It is extremely repetitive. I get what you mean, personally, because I've been playing it for so long. A lot of the shit, the new one has improved on a lot of those things, because they're currently like updating the game constantly with like raids and new like stuff to do and everything. New bosses.
Basically,
and shit.
kind of an overhaul, but not really.
Yeah, they're kind of like being more What do you call
They're
it?
giving it the No Man's Sky treatment. If you guys remember that game, let me just tell you, I remember there was the news article about the company's offices that it was flooded, and I'm like, but the hype was so big, but then it flopped, and now it's good, but no one plays it. Like, what the hell? That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, I understand Borderlands. I've never played Borderlands, Cobra, so I do understand. But I do understand what you mean. Like, there are games that are very, very repetitive.
The most satisfying part of Borderlands is getting a perfect legendary with good stats. That's the satisfying part about the.
Let's not talk about how you lost your save file. Let's not mention that.
Yeah. Oh. No, that's not what I'm getting into. I'm just saying like what the best part of Borderlands is. It's the most satisfying part. It's getting getting good loot. That's the most satisfying part. I'm gonna leave it at that and come with another question for Cosmic, since we haven't asked for quite a bit. This is more like a question I was contemplating of asking, because it might sound wrong, and it is a question like, have you ever feared of getting like dethroned from like any world record? Like, for example, the first like satisfying and really like deserving world record you got. Did you ever like have any kind of anxiety like losing that world record to somebody else?
Not really, because I usually would see it coming anytime it was going to happen. Like, at least with all my other any % records in Super Mario Bros., a lot of times the table or like someone else was right there, or like even when I got 455, which was like the one that was the most groundbreaking, I guess. I kind of wasn't even the person that should have gotten it. Like West was already way closer to it. I just like fluked it pretty much.
9 attempts, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was
out of
just
nowhere.
extreme luck.
Yeah.
I cannot believe.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So not really, but I wouldn't say I'm like scared of being dethroned or whatever, but I'm probably not ever PBing in SMB1 90% again. So whenever it's beaten this time, it'll be a little bit sad because it's like, I probably won't ever hold that again.
Yeah, because it was such a close record. It wasn't that like, I'm not into speedrunning. That's not my thing. So these are just like out of nowhere questions. You can answer them like full-heartedly and just prove me wrong. But isn't like the record you have, isn't that like one of the most like highest possible, like quickest you can possibly do it? There has to be like a limit to how quick you can do it.
Yeah, so it's a bit different than most other games, partially because it is just really short, so there's less room for
improvement,
like new stuff, I guess. But also just the way the game works, it's like really straightforward, and it has this whole frame rule system that just makes it like both easy to optimize and hard to improve, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So in other games where you could find like second time savers, in this game, if you save frames, it's like a big deal. So yeah.
Right, I get what you mean with the speedrunning, because I'm part of a really small about a childhood game of mine, like Hot Wheels Velocity X, and there were like no records of like a set mission. Like there are missions in this game, right? And you have to do them in a certain time to get this world record. And according to my server, like I get what you mean, because I have that fear like of being dethroned, because I do have a world record myself. Like on the latest mission on the hardest difficulty, under I think it was 20 minutes or something, 17 minutes 59 seconds, and so many people after me have tried it and none of them succeeded. But I do still have the fear of being, dethroned. But I do understand what you mean of not being really scared, but just like, I had that, I'm sad now. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, this is gonna sound weird, but like the record is better now than it's ever been, which sounds like that should be obvious, but sometimes like the world record will be in a place where like for its time it was better, if that makes sense, and like people are better and we just haven't quite gotten to where we should be. But like where it's at now is like it's hard to explain, but like for the skill level everyone's at now, I think it's the best the record has ever been. It's kind of like the hardest to get past it's ever been. And with the least likely chance that some new innovation's found. So whoever beats it next, like totally deserves it, and I'll just be happy for them. But
that's
I get
what you're saying.
Yeah,
I have.
Loopie,
yeah, I have seen you, Cosmic, like during world records, saying like that there is like at some point, like I'm just gonna like give a random example. It might not apply to you, but like just room Mario, that well, and then you're saying that could be improved. It's a world record after all, but it could be improved like easily for someone who's on your level. I've seen you talking about that a lot.
Right.
Cobra, do you have any more questions?
No, I'm out of questions, so I'll have to think about more questions. If I even can think of more, so...
I'll ask a question. Cosmic, what do you think in speedrunning is like probably like the hardest like experience like in a game? Doesn't have to be Mario, it could be something else, but what was the hardest grind that you had to go through for a specific time?
The hardest one, I mean, SMB1 90% always comes up. It's kind of just like a different beast than all the others, because it's It's just like
Yeah,
there's no room for mistakes, and it's not like you almost don't feel like you're playing the game. It's like just this series of stupid tricks that you have to hit.
yes,
And
I get that.
yeah.
It's
So,
just it
and
kind
because there's so many, it like on any given day you can just be bad at one of them. And it doesn't matter that you're fine at like the 7 other stupid good tricks, but if you can't hit one of them, then it doesn't matter.
of
So,
Right.
And for whatever reason, when the record was 456.8, it sat there for like a year and a half or something, and like me and Some West both got so close to beating it, and like none of us just could ever do it. We, at least I remember, I lost like 30 record pace runs in the final level or something over the course of like a year, and it was pretty awful. But when I finally got the run that I wanted, it like I feel like I improved a lot at like the mental game, and now that helps me like because I went through all that, I'm like better at speedrunning now.
Also, the patience it takes to get all of that done and like just keep doing the same thing over and over again might have been improved throughout that grind. So you're like automatically optimized your patience with stuff now. Like if you're for future speedruns, maybe like you're more patient.
Yeah, I think it makes me, when I'm on a good run, like more determined to not lose it or like keep focus better.
Less
And then
anxious.
also, yeah, and even if I like do lose something, like when I was trying to get the first sub 19 in Warpless, which we mentioned earlier, the record's 1859 now. I almost got that time like a couple months prior, but I like got hit by Bowser like half a second before the end, and then like over the next couple months, that happened like a couple more times, where I pretty much had to get the run 4 times before I actually got it, just because the final guy hit me. And
That's so
one
unlucky.
of them was actually like half an hour before I actually did the run. I like played an 1859 but got hit, and then had enough like mental fortitude or whatever to just play it again like immediately after.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, as we speak, like I had the same problem, where, for a year I was like, you said you were, trying to improve the 456.8, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I pretty much have the same problem, but for French record. And
What place are you now, though? Are you
I'm
still
third. I'm still third in France, but
Yeah.
This is kind of like personal to me, but this is probably the only question I'm going to ask that has something to do with me. But do you have any advice for like this sort of motivation in speedrunning?
I always think that when people get frustrated, it's because they just have the wrong expectations. So you have to just be super honest with yourself and say like, what I'm doing is really hard. I can't expect to like, I don't know, get it too quickly, or like you shouldn't compare yourself to others ever. It's really just, at least in speedrunning, because it's pretty much just you in the game. It's not like player versus player or anything. It's really just whatever inner mountain you have to climb to get over it. You kind of have to solve that, and just always be honest with yourself. Don't like blame the game if it's actually your fault. Stuff like that.
Mobile players are shaking right now. But I do understand what you mean by that mentality. Even though some people are shit, some people don't blame themselves, but they blame the game for some reason, and I'm like,
Or lag.
or lag, or sorry I gotta go, or whatever. Yeah, but like that's I feel that. I feel the advice for climb the inner mountain you have to, so you can reach that checkpoint eventually. So you get up higher until you're at a point where you're like, right, this is what I am, this is what I do. I think I said that right. I may have fucked up an English word or two. I'm sorry if I do.
Yeah,
It doesn't take us. It doesn't take a snap of a finger.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
You can always see there's so much of a mental thing in it, because when people will have these milestones they want to hit, a lot of times they'll take forever to finally break some barrier, and then once one person's done that, like a bunch of people will suddenly break it, or even that one person will like PB more after that. And suddenly, like, that what once was like impossible, they can just do that all the time because there's not this huge mental barrier. So
Right.
kind of calling back to one of the first questions you asked of how did I feel when I got the first world record, I didn't mean to like undersell that too much. There definitely was one thing that when you get a world record, or at least for me, and I've seen other people too, it's almost like this switch flips in your brain where you're like, oh, I can get world records. And that lets you just like play better from then on, because you don't have to be like, there's this other group of people that aren't me that get world records, and I'm like good, but like they're world record people.
Exactly the same feeling when I got mine.
Yeah.
Like that degrading mentality that you get automatically. Like you think everybody's, without even knowing it, you just naturally think that everybody's better than you because they already have these kind of records and all that.
Right. I was just gonna ask something. Before you got introduced to the world of speedrunning, what were your dreams of your future self? Like, what did you want to do like 10 years ago? And reflecting on that, how much you've grown since that person?
Man, I don't really know. Just I didn't have this hobby. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career, or like where I wanted to go to school or anything 10 years ago. A little after that, I found speedrunning, and for a long time didn't think it would. Definitely didn't think it would become what it has been for me, but I probably just had the very typical like future vision of have a nice, happy little family and good job or whatever, you know. But
yeah, to have like this general vision of what your life could be.
yeah.
But
now I feel like I'm at a point where somehow, even though I think I am a forward thinker, but I didn't think like that far in advance. But I think I'm happy with where everything's shaking out to be right now.
That's good. That's good that you. I think. Well, I don't know if that's true for me to say, but I think speedrunning has quote unquote changed your life for the better. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I wrong or am I right?
Well, the job I'm starting soon that I'll do remotely, actually met that person through speedrunning.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's an interesting coincidence, and if you don't mind us, if there is a story, you can share it, of course.
It was just someone who is like a regular in my stream, and I became friends with, and they said, whenever you're like graduating, you should just come interview here. So I did.
Well, that's a good story, because the most unexpected friends are the best. And
Yeah.
I'm speaking of, again, I'm showing my appreciation for Loopie and Cobra again.
Yeah.
Because they deserve it.
No, yeah. Thank you, mate.
It just so clicked, and the energy that thus three radiate on and off camera is something I've never felt, but I'm always glad to feel. So yeah.
I think you're
Loopie,
getting
Cobra, do you have anything while my brain unfreezes?
I actually have one. Cosmic, do you know the mobile game called Geometry Dash? Just
Is it only mobile?
no, it's on
PC and
PC.
stuff too,
It's
right?
on PC. It got a PC port in 2015, I think.
I have a funny story about that. Some guy came into my stream and donated money and was like, play Geometry Dash. And I was like, I feel like obligated now. He just like donated before he asked if I would. And I was like, okay. Well, I can do it this day. So can you do it this day? And he said, yeah. And then he never showed up. And I haven't seen him since then. So I never played the game.
You donated your money to play GD and never showed up.
So
that's a new level of ghosting.
Yeah. When you mentioned it earlier, I was like, oh, that game. I still feel awkward. I never played that.
yeah, all right. So a little thing, not to make it this about me, because it is about you, but it will spiral into something about you.
Of course, Cobra.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nah, that game is literally the thing I excel at. I have 2,500 2,500 hours on that game, and I've been playing it since 2015, since release.
2,500 hours?
Yeah,
Cobra,
2,600
have you
actually.
lost your mind, bro?
I have lost my humanity. Don't blame me.
I'm not
Nah,
blaming you. That's me
but
with CS, but 1,600 hours. Yeah.
when you get to the harder levels in that game, it takes just so much patience, so much practice. So this is like what I wanted to like ask you about. This is mostly like because as like the image I get of you now is that you have a lot of patience and you can just do every run over and over and over again. But back in the day, did the practice of doing speed running, like practicing stuff, did it ever get to you, like when you didn't get the thing and you might have like failed over and over and over and over again? Did it ever like get to you? Did you ever have like thoughts about giving up and shit?
Not too much. I think, at least back then. I mean, it's funny that I did definitely get frustrated a lot more back then, but I feel like I wasn't even doing anything that warranted that that much. Like I don't remember losing like any crazy runs back then or too much. I did one time when I was trying to get the first warpless record in Mario Bros. I did lose one run in the final level. That was probably the only time I actually got mad and like had a real reason to back then, I guess. But yeah, I was definitely like less mature and got upset back then. And I do.
How long was that ago?
Oh, so that was like 8 years ago. I was like 17. Yeah. So
right. So yeah, you were less mature about how you act towards it, right?
Yeah. I guess yeah. Now sometimes like if I ever am feeling those emotions or whatever, it's like I don't know. I can just step through it in my brain and say it's kind of whatever in the long run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think practicing is probably one of my better skills in speedrunning because it like doesn't bother me at all. I almost like enjoy practicing stuff a lot of times.
Yeah, that's like the same thing on like stuff. It's more fun learning to play the level. Doing it over and over again might be the most annoying part.
Yeah,
right.
Putting
and
those practicing skills to the test.
Yeah, I think my approach back then might have been worse too. Because now, like the more you learn to do something, the better you get at learning and faster and all that. So now, if I lose a run, I can be like, oh, I clearly lost that because like I needed to know this thing about the game. I just didn't know that. So now I know for the future. Or
right,
I need to revise my strat for this level, or like I need to go look into this and see how it works. I don't like just say this is so stupid. Why does the game work this way? I put pretty much all the pressure on me, unless it's like strictly some.
You're acknowledging what you've done wrong and how better. I think that's what you're trying to say. I think practice and patience when it comes to these types of games are the best virtues because they help you learn a lot more. And everyone has that game where like they're the best at. Like I'm sure like every gamer at least. Like they always have that one game that are good. Which game would that be for you? Which if there is a game, which game would you say you're the best at?
I think it's Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, which is it's like the sequel that was originally only in Japan. It's kind of like the first Super Mario Bros., but there's like a lot more hard situations and pretty much the exact thing I was describing, where I figure out the game and like, oh, in this situation I need to do this, and it was entirely my fault. I'll see some other people kind of say, wow, this game's just kind of ridiculous, and it just like owned me right there and nothing I could do. And I'm sitting here to myself like, no, you can do this and this and this. I've been there. I already lost the run to that, but I went and figured it out instead. So I don't know. I feel like also that game is really hard and like less people get into it. So a lot of people just don't. It's definitely not as well like researched and documented as the first Super Mario Bros. But I do feel of any game that I speedrun, that might be the one that I'm kind of at some level that no one else is really at right now.
That you're exceptionally excelled and like good at it, right?
Yeah, and
Cobra, that's you with Geometry Dash, right? Or is there
Yeah.
another game that I don't know about?
What exactly? Like,
I mean, is it like I'll ask for this question not just for Cosmic but for everybody. We have favorite games, but I think like Cobra, is Geometry Dash the game you're best like the best
Geometry
at?
Dash is far from my favorite game, but it's definitely like, if I had to say it, it's definitely the game I'm best at, but it's not my favorite game.
Loopie, what about you?
I just get into different things. You know, I'll speedrun SMB1 and then I'll get bored, and then a year later I PB by 1 second, and then same thing goes. Or I'll play FIFA for the first time in like 2 years, or
Degenerate.
okay.
Hey. Yeah, but like, which is the game that you're best skilled at?
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not the best, you know, at SMB or FIFA, but I don't know. It just depends what I'm into right now.
What are you into right now, and what would you say is your answer at the moment?
I mean, I played FIFA, you know, a little bit. Then I got kind of bored, and now I'm trying out new games. And
Right.
you know,
Hollow Knight was one of the games that I watched you play. It looked really fun, although it's not my game personally. I do like the art style.
It's all hand drawn, and it's just a great game. It is like hard to like progress. You know, I'm always in a cog going like Cobra, like I'm so lost.
And I am here just guiding him because I know everything of the game. I was in your shoes, Loopy. I didn't even look up anything. I beat the game 110%, 112% completion just on my own. It took so fucking long. You're lucky you have my help, because it's a maze. That game is a maze, but it's it's a good maze.
It's a good adventure. It's good to play a game that you know will take long for you to beat, because then you won't get bored at it. Like Super Mario Odyssey, it's my favorite game right now. like of all time, actually, because of
you've mentioned that before.
Yeah. But it only lasted me like 3 days. Like I only got good at it like in 3 days. I beat the game 3 days after buying it. So
For me personally, I'd say that the best way to play any like say story driven game is to play it slow, like not to play everything at once, because that way you'll be much more disappointed than satisfied. So personally for me, my favorite game of all time, and the one that I enjoy the most, GTA 4, because of the story, not because of the gameplay or whatever. Gameplay is fine, but the story of it is encapsulating, and the protagonist is a Balkan brother. How can I not? But that's irrelevant. I'm just saying, like, but the game that I'm best at, Cobra is gonna laugh at me for this, but it's Warcraft, because I do know so much about the game. I spent basically my whole life about it. Like I've been playing since I was 3, I think, and but playing Warcraft 3, 2, and all the expansions to to the MMO, and I don't know, just every time someone wants to play, I'm like super hyped, and I'm like, oh, you do this, you did this, no, you put this there, you loot this monster or whatever. It's fun.
You subconsciously think like, oh yeah, this is my shit.
This is my shot at helping someone, and I have a friend playing sometimes with. They're pretty cool, and they're learning a lot, and they always want to learn the lore, and I'm saying that shit is so long, it would take me like weeks to explain it, because it is really expansive.
Yeah, they keep adding on to that shit.
Right. Yeah.
I think I can answer the question about like what game I'm best at. It's basically any Mario game or just Nintendo like game that has a story mode that I can just beat in the next coming like week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey took me like 3 days.
Hollow Knight will probably take you a week.
That's me with Super Mario Galaxy 2, actually.
Yeah,
Mario Galaxy 2 is really boring for me, at least.
New Super Mario Bros. Games, I've never like done more than like 2 days in New Super Mario Bros. Games. But
you two have anything else to ask our beloved guest?
I do.
Right.
So Cosmic, you've gone to speedrunning events. What would you say is your most like memorable moment in like any of the speedrunning events you've gone to?
The most memorable one is definitely this 2D Mario relay we did at Summer Games Done Quick 2017.
Oh,
It was 3 teams. Each had a person on the team who was going to run Super Mario Bros. 1, Lost Levels, Mario Bros. 2, 3, and Mario World. So 3 teams with 5 players each, and we draft picked our teams and with team captains, and like we made shirts, and like it was so sick. But yeah, I like the teams were pretty balanced based on who had what PB and stuff. And the unfortunate thing about that whole experience was since I ran Mario 1, I was up first, and I was supposed to like get us a lead kind of because I had a better PB than the people I was racing, but I ended up finishing last.
Really?
So I felt really bad. I just had like a couple pretty unfortunate things happen, but it was definitely the most nervous I've ever been. But overall, it was a really good race and experience.
Would you say that experience between you being last kind of hardened you to do better in the future? Like, did
I'm not
it?
sure. I definitely wasn't using very good strats for doing a race in terms of consistency back then. So maybe I got better at my approach towards races like that.
Right, Cobra.
I do.
Anything?
Oh, I don't have anything.
Loopie, I'm sorry I took your lead.
No, it's okay. I was gonna say like I do remember seeing SGDQ 2017. Like I remember there being a relay. I just didn't know who anyone was. I just watched Darbian. Then was Darbian there, Cosmo? Yeah. I think I was just watching to see Darbian, but that is kind of what got me into speedrunning. Like I had like my NES Classic, and I decided to like just time myself and get like 6-minute runs. So I guess it's memorable for me too, like SGDQ 2017.
Nice.
Yeah, Cobra, you got a question?
It's just like a really like fast, simple question because I'm just curious. Everybody who like does something special can get recognized. Have you ever had like when you're at like a speedrunning convention or any convention, have anybody went up to you and say like, "Oh, you're Cosmic" or something? Basically, getting recognized in like a convention or just in general. Have anybody ever recognized you?
Yeah, that happens all the time at GDQ events. It happens occasionally when I go to Smash tournaments also. So whenever we're in that kind of sphere, yeah, sometimes people have seen that. I mean, at GDQs, obviously people like watch the speedruns. Sometimes at like Smash tournaments, I think people have watched like Summoning Salt videos. That's where they've seen me.
When you first started getting recognized, how did you feel?
I was just about to ask that.
Cobra, I know what you're thinking sometimes,
Yeah.
How did
most of the time
feel? Yeah.
Like Cosmic
most of the time it doesn't. It was just at GDQs, and like my first few I went to, it was pretty much people I already knew. So now sometimes it's like someone's like, "Hey, you're Cosmic" and all that, and I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Don't think I've even seen you in my stream chat, but all right on, man. But the first time ever, actually, I was just at my university and someone knew who I was. I actually had already known him from some of my classes and was just like, "Hey, dude, haven't seen you in a long time." And he's like, "Dude, this is a weird question, but are you Cosmic?" Like since I'd seen him, it had been like 2 years since I'd seen him, and he's like, he like started watching videos, and like he's like, "I swear this is like one of my old classmates." So that was really funny. But yeah,
that must have been like a bizarre encounter.
Yeah, I felt like, especially because I do study computer science, I'm like, dude, someone at this university, especially in this program, has to see some speedrunning videos. Like, I was kind of surprised it never happened, but when it does, it's still kind of weird. I don't know.
Have you ever considered doing any other games as your career path, or it was just strictly Mario?
So yeah, I have done Donkey Kong and some Zelda, and it's kind of the Mario ones were the ones I was best at, I think. So that's why, as I got less and less free time, I kind of gravitated more towards those, so that I felt like I was kind of accomplishing what I wanted to when I could.
Right.
But like I said, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. You got to get up to snuff on that because that game is sick.
Yeah.
It's just a weird title. I've heard nothing of the sorts. Just that title is unique to say the least.
I know it's pretty like iconic. Like I was in one of your Mario All Stars streams, and people were talking about Billy Hatcher, and I was like, "What is that?" I was looking at some of your runs, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's interesting."
Little kid, chicken suit, grabs egg, goes flying. It's just amazing.
Nice
It soared away into the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like iconic now.
Developers get on
iconic
that.
Cosmic, let that rhyme, Loopie, let that rhyme.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot I'm a rapper. I'm not.
Alright,
How can you forget that what you do, man?
Hey,
I'm
like,
kidding. I'm kidding.
this
Yeah.
podcast thing is just amazing. Like, it's just a great thing to do. So,
Right. And I'll never stop thinking about how the idea came to fruition. Like,
yeah.
it just clicked. Like the flip the switch, flip. Oh, there you go.
Refer to episode 0.
Again.
Anyways.
Yeah, we've done that at least
whenever-
like 4 times now.
Yeah. It was. This podcast has been so far a great journey, and I never intend to stop on continuing it
Same.
with growth, with potential, with power. I guess power is
Power.
kind of an objective word. No. I meant like with the patience that us have and like that us three have and everything. Well, I'm pretty certain we'll do great. Like my consciousness tells me we the three hoes are gonna do it no matter what.
Hoes?
Yeah.
The fuck you call the hoe, yo?
I'm you know what I mean. Like us three will manage to strive and blossom in a way.
Yeah, I have a
Right.
question for Cosmic,
Go ahead.
if you don't mind. Cosmic, what is your like least favorite game to run or play, but like the viewers like it more than you do? If that makes some sort of sense.
Super Mario Bros. Any percent.
Why did I
Like,
feel
no
that
matter
was
what I
coming?
do, people just want to see that, and it's fun when I play it. But like, I definitely need breaks from it. And now I'm like completely done with it. But people are still gonna
Yeah.
want it forever.
People are
Yeah.
still insisting on it, even though you finished it.
Even though there's nothing more to do.
And most people don't know like all the details. They just see a world record video or they've watched one before, and they're just that's just kind of what they want to see. Like a lot of times, like people follow you for a specific reason. They're like, I want to see Super Mario Bros. Any percent world record attempts from you, and then you're not doing those, and they're like, why aren't you doing those?
Well, other people could watch you for just your personality and your entertainment, which I think are the better fans. Like because
Those are
no
the
matter what you do, they will
Those are the ones that show up for Billy Hatcher.
those are the highest, most absolute units. The Mad Lads.
And
Mad
then I
Lads.
play it,
What were you
like,
turning
shout out to
British
everyone
now?
here.
The awesome Mad Lads.
So Cosmic, I got another question for you. So, Mario Bros. Any percent is probably like the most popular like game and category like in speedrunning in general. And I remember when, Darbian, was kind of the guy that was in the lead all the time. He was recognized by what's the name of this show? Like Great Big Story, and then some other like news channels. Have you ever like been like in the news or something, that is like public?
Have you been in the media? Is what I think.
Yeah, media. Yeah.
On the last record, some people linked me some like Swedish news that was talking about it or something. I haven't been on Colbert Show or CNN or something like that, like some other people have, but I do have a Guinness certificate for my Warpless record, so that's cool.
Hey,
Ooh.
respect.
Congratulations, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's nice to have just because most of the world knows what Guinness is, so I can just flex that on them.
Yeah, just, oh,
like,
you got
Guinness
that?
actually-
Well, I got
It's
a
funny
Guinness World
'cause
Record.
in the world of like actual world record people, Guinness kind of just not that great of people, but
But you
Does that
still have
mean-
that sense of accomplishment.
yeah.
Does that mean you get to be in the book, or is that just like you
I'm
just have?
pretty
a
sure I've
certificate?
been in one of the books at least. I'm not sure which one. Someone's always like, I found you in one of the books. I'm like, which one? I'll get it. And they're like, I have no idea which one it was.
You just know you were in there somewhere.
All of a sudden, I like reading.
No, reading is good for your psyche. I argue so. Yeah, whenever you can, just in these grim times, you can always read a book. It always helps.
It makes me go insane reading. Actually,
Is that a hint or something?
no. We'll talk about this later.
We'll talk about this later, indeed. Yeah, but like, yeah, you have this thing. Congrats, man. You deserve all the success you have and the success you're going to get in the future. And
Thanks.
as I always say, us three are very happy to support you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
and once again, thank you for hopping onto here and telling us about yourself and your grind and your mindset
Mhm.
and everything.
I think I have my episode title now. I
We-
figured it.
We definitely
gonna-
appreciate you coming onto such a obscure and might I say like scuffed podcast. Like I don't know where we really appreciate it that
Yeah, it's
people
fun.
like you
and
just even bother just like giving us some of your time.
I forgot to ask a
whenever
question.
I get on like these, I feel like some of my questions get like really long-winded because I don't normally just sit and talk about this like in day-to-day life or whatever. So I'm just like, yeah, I actually have a lot to say about this and no one to talk to. So just listen to all of this spew out of my mouth.
Hey, that's great.
Well,
I actually forgot to ask a question that we always do in every eCast. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Ooh, so for a while I was thinking like, oh man, when I work and like as life moves on, who knows if I'll keep speedrunning or have time or whatever, but I actually think I might have more time to do it when I get actually graduated and stuff, because school's a little more unpredictable with like when homework assignments and tests fall. But when I get a consistent work schedule, then I can have a consistent stream schedule and all that. So I actually think that we'll keep doing speedruns, keep doing more of them, and probably Super Mario Bros. 80% we're probably laying to rest, but I have a whole bunch of other stuff that I still want to accomplish, and I think we've just begun in terms of all the other things that I want to do.
It's just
really
like the
great.
phrase, my life has just begun at this very moment.
Yeah.
I kind of want to
Yeah.
ask a question related to some of this. Like in the future, are you still like planning to like just do speedruns? Because as far as I know, like speedrunning is definitely like your thing. That's how you started, like getting growth and stuff. Are you like ever planning to like maybe like go off to like more variety streams, like maybe branch off from speedrunning, not quit it, like obviously not, but like try and like do other stuff that might interest you and then share it with others on stream, that kind of thing.
So for me, streaming and stuff will always be kind of like the side hobby thing, I guess. So, just for me personally, like I said, I'm gonna get a job in computer science, and that'll be my sustainable income, whatever. And then on the side for fun, I think I'll always be doing some kind of speedrunning or like video games. So if I did something else, it would just be because, oh, I feel like playing this game right now, may as well stream it or something like that.
Might as well
Mhm.
share it with the people who would like to watch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
That's the spirit in all of this.
Yeah.
Any of y'all got anything more to ask? Because I'm all out.
I'm also
No.
all out. I am completely dry.
I think it's time to end it here then.
It's a wrap, boys. It's a wrap.
All right, well,
This time I do the outro.
fine.
Yeah. Fuck
If,
you,
if you
Loopie.
have nothing, if you have nothing to say, I'll back you up. But yeah,
Nah,
go
I do have I have something to say. That's the outro.
okay. All right.
Like, first of all, thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the eCast. We hope you can continue supporting us. We hope you continue enjoying our episodes. Second of all, again, thank you, Cosmic, for taking your time and bringing on this scuffed shit show of a podcast, we like to call it. But yeah, thank you for your time, and thank you for giving us a little more insight in the mind of a speedrunner. And it's greatly your input is greatly appreciated.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been fun.
Hey,
Hey, third of all, if you guys have any recommendations, next podcast to talk about, comments are always open. We were not like in PewDiePie 2013 when he locked them, but yeah. I'm kidding. Yeah, if you remember, you remember. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And remember, E.
E.
E? Yes, we got it.
Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of eCast. I'm your co-host, fucking... Alright, I'm starting that over.